Hello one and all, a very warm welcome to another instalment from the channel that is Jono's Graveyard Jaunts. If you are enjoying the content of Jono's Graveyard Jaunts, can I please ask you to like, subscribe and comment on the channel. Now it is free to subscribe and it will help the channel to grow, and this in turn means we can jointly venture further afield to produce ever more interesting content for you as the viewer. Now today I'm once again at probably my favourite cemetery, which lies in the city of Nottingham and is called Church Rock Cemetery. Now this cemetery really is incredible, as not only are there lots of fascinating graves with amazingly ornate headstones, but also the cemetery's layout itself is very impressive. Now the cemetery is a Grade 2 star listed building and lies on a 13-acre site. And the cemetery was designed by a man called Edwin Patchett, who is also buried here in a very elaborate vault. At the bottom level of the cemetery there is a sandpit where the paupers' graves are. Unfortunately you cannot get access to the sandpit where the paupers' graves lie unless you are part of a guided tour of the cemetery. Now the inscription on one of the tombs in the sandpit, eroded by time and pitted with age, is heartbreakingly sad. It bears the name of Joseph Fenwick, and in the column for his age the words, and I quote, 5 minutes, nothing more, end of quote, is written. Now you then go up a path ascending from the sandpit, a height of about 20 metres, to another level, where there are lots of twists, turns and undulations as you wind your way through the various trails where the graves are located. Now if you are fascinated by cemeteries, as indeed I am, and in turn live in Nottingham, I strongly suggest a visit to this cemetery, as you will not be disappointed. The last public hanging on the site took place in 1827 for robbery, where the gallows used to stand right outside of the entrance to Church Rock Cemetery itself. Now I think it's fair to say that most people enjoy tipple after a hard day's work or as a treat at the weekend. Now the person who features in today's video was instrumental in allowing us all to do this, as he himself founded a brewery. Now the person who is the topic of today's video is a man by the name of James Shipstone, who founded Shipstone's Brewery, also sometimes known as Shippo's. Now James Shipstone was born in Mansfield, Nottinghamshire on the 9th of February 1818 to a mum, Nancy Harpam, and a father, James Shipstone, who was a cotton stocking maker. Now James married Frances Dodson in 1844 when he was just 26 years old, and together they had 11 children. Now as a youngster, James started to work as a male servant. In the census just 1 year prior to setting up the brewery, at 31 years old, he listed as a porter. Porting skills are essential for any brewer, and this experience carried into later life as he went on to open the brewery in Basford just 1 year later in 1852. Now the company itself was founded on a 7-acre, 28,000 square metre site and was named the Star Brewery. Now it was known as the Star Brewery because of the red illuminated star on top of the brewery tower, which used to glow red at night. In the early years, James and Nancy lived in the Horse and Groom opposite the brewery, and the pub stands today and is back serving traditional beers that Shipstone's brewed when the company was first founded. Now James Shipstone Sr. died in 1897, and his sons James Shipstone Jr. and Thomas Shipstone took over the company, where under their leadership the business went from strength to strength. And in 1922 it absorbed both the Beeston Brewery Company and the William Hooley Limited Company. By 1939 the company owned 550 licensed premises, 30 diesel lorries for long distance delivery work and 50 horses for local delivery work. The brewery remained an independent family business until 1978, when the company was purchased by Greenalls of Warrington, which also purchased a number of other breweries from neighbouring towns and cities. Now, Greenalls introduced minor changes to the production of the various Shipstone's beers and increased the marketing of the company. In 1987, Shipstone's became the main shirt sponsor of Nottingham Forest Football Club, and arrangements which continued until 1994. And in 1990, Greenalls announced they were ending all beer production and became a retailing company only. And production at Shipstone's Brewery ended in early 1991 after 139 years. Now, the Shipstone's brand continued to be produced for some years afterwards at breweries located in Burton-upon-Trent. Today the company offices have been taken over, while some housing and retail units have been constructed on other parts of the site. And the landmark Victorian building, constructed in 1900 with later extension, remains standing and has been earmarked for conversion into offices. So here we are at Church Rock Cemetery in Nottingham. If you don't find this grave of James Shipstone, look for the sandpit, i.e. the paupers' graves. It's basically about 20 foot below ground level, and it's on the left hand side, and this is where James Shipstone is buried, who founded Shipstone's Brewery, also known as Star Brewery. And we'll just read what it says: in loving memory of James Shipstone, who died 21st of October 1897, aged 79 years. Also Frances Elizabeth. So here we are, the final resting place in Church Rock Cemetery of the founder of the Star Brewery in Old Basford, Nottingham. Rest in peace, James. Thank you for your contribution to the brewing industry. God bless. Reunited with Francis. I think one of the things with the Victorian era, the buildings were built very robustly, but they're also built for a specific purpose. So if you think about the Industrial Revolution, factories were built for a specific purpose, and they were ideal at the time, but as time moved forwards, they became obsolete. And essentially what that means, when they closed down, they couldn't be used for any other purpose. For example, it'd be very difficult to convert them into offices because the building isn't geared towards that, and it's called ergonomics. And essentially what that means, it's the functionality of the building, things like access and egress. How do materials and people move around the building? You've got things like concrete pillars in the way, and it simply wouldn't be viable, and it wouldn't be able to function as an office. So a lot of these buildings, they either get converted into student accommodation. You normally find that with a lot of factories, certainly in the East Midlands, or they just pull them down because they simply can't do anything with them. But a lot of them are listed, so fortunately that means they can't be pulled down. And what happens is, as I say, they normally get converted into student accommodation, which in my opinion is better than pulling them down. So they're built very much over a period of time, and that's why I'm so keen to try and keep them and preserve them if we can, rather than simply pulling them down. But they're just not suited for today's society. We're a tertiary environment, a tertiary economy, i.e. we don't make stuff anymore. We all sit in front of a computer. So, to transition, what was a hard-working factory into office accommodation, it just simply wouldn't be viable. But that concludes the video, guys. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, please like, subscribe and comment. Thank you for watching.